So, what we're looking at here is an impact report that dives deep into a massive effort to transform education in Indonesia. But listen, this isn't just a story about handing out new laptops. It's about a really unique partnership between global giants like Intel and local innovators Axioo and Kipin, who all came together to solve one fundamental problem. And that brings us to the core question that frames this entire project. How in the world do you bring digital learning to a classroom that has little or even zero internet access? It's a huge challenge in a country as vast and diverse as Indonesia. And let me tell you, the answer takes a lot more than just good intentions.
So, to really get why the solutions in this report are so cool, we first have to appreciate the sheer scale of the hurdles. The path to a digital classroom in Indonesia, well, it's filled with some deep systemic challenges.
The report breaks it down into 6 main challenges. We're talking about major gaps in infrastructure. No internet, not enough devices. Then there's the uneven digital skills among teachers, which creates a huge confidence gap. There's a lack of content that's actually relevant to local students. And on top of all that, a real disconnect between the skills being taught and what the local economy actually needs. These aren't just small bumps in the road, they are major structural barriers. And if you want a number that makes that infrastructure gap painfully clear, here it is. Nearly 80%. Just think about that. 4 out of every 5 schools in the program started out without enough devices for their students. That number right there just sets the stage for how big of a mountain they had to climb. So with problems this complex, you can't just slap a simple fix on it. Nope. The answer was to build an entirely new educational ecosystem, bringing together multiple partners, with each one tackling a specific piece of this giant puzzle. The first piece was the educational foundation, and that came from Intel. Their Skills for Innovation framework wasn't about teaching specific software. It was about shifting the teacher's entire mindset. The goal was to empower educators with the confidence and the future-focused skills, like design thinking and data science, so they could really, truly integrate technology into their teaching. And this is the brilliant solution to that big question we started with. Meet Kipin, the offline digital library. This platform is a total game changer. It delivers thousands of books, videos, and practice questions on a little local server, which creates its own Wi-Fi hotspot, so students can access everything without any internet connection. It brings the content even when the internet can't get there. Okay, next up, let's talk hardware. To tackle that massive device shortage, the Indonesian tech company Axioo came in with a super cost-effective solution using a technology called Intelligent Desktop Virtualization. So how does this IDV technology work? Well, it's incredibly clever. One standard PC acts as a host, or the brain, and it powers up to 4 other simpler computer stations. This means for the cost and the energy of just one computer, a school gets 4 fully functional workstations. For schools with tight budgets, this is an absolute breakthrough. So, we have the framework from Intel, we have the offline content from Kipin, and the efficient hardware from Axioo. The big question is, did it work? Let's start by looking at the impacts on the teachers because they are the real agents of change here. And the data is pretty clear. This chart shows what's called teacher self-efficacy, which is basically just a measure of their confidence in their own ability to use tech effectively in the classroom. And you can see it right there, a tangible jump from the pre-program score of 3.57 to 3.80 after the program. That's a solid, measurable boost in confidence. But it gets even more interesting. The single biggest area of growth wasn't just general confidence. It was in their adaptability and ability to learn independently, a jump of over 10%. This shows they weren't just learning to follow a script. They were gaining the skills to adapt and solve problems all on their own. But numbers don't tell the whole story. The report also reveals the human side of this change, what experts often call technostress. This quote from a teacher highlights a really powerful psychological barrier, the fear of damaging expensive equipment that's just on loan. That sense of responsibility can be absolutely paralyzing. And here's another quote that gets right to the heart of a different kind of frustration. A teacher looks at a new device running Linux, an operating system they've never seen, and they can't find the basic tools they rely on, like Word or Excel. This creates anxiety and this fear of making a mistake, and it just stops progress dead in its tracks. So we've seen the complex impact on teachers, but what about the students? How did this new ecosystem actually change their experience in the classroom? This right here is where the results are truly outstanding. When asked if learning became more interactive, the response was a massive 4.32 out of 5. Get this was the single highest rated statement in the entire survey. It proved the program fundamentally shifted the classroom from a place of passive listening to one of active engagement. However, the report is also really honest about where more work is needed. While engagement soared, the development of those deeper, future-ready skills, like problem-solving and understanding AI and coding, scored much lower. It shows that creating an interactive environment is a critical first step, but building those higher-order skills, well, that's the next frontier. And it's worth remembering how this was all made possible in those offline areas. This is the Kipin system in action. The server on the right creates a local Wi-Fi hotspot, allowing any device, like the ones you see on the left, to access a full digital library, completely independent of the internet. This is the tech that powered all that amazing student engagement. So when we pull all of this together, what's the final verdict on this really ambitious project? And what does the path forward look like? The transformation is really dramatic when you see it side by side. Before, you had teachers who lacked confidence and students who were passive. After, teacher confidence saw a solid 6.5% boost, and student engagement, as we saw, went through the roof. Most importantly, that combination of IDB hardware and Kipin's offline content was proven to be a really effective model. Crucially, this project wasn't just about implementation, it was a massive learning experience. And the key recommendations for the future are crystal clear. Real transformation requires ongoing support, not just a one-time device drop. School principals have to be empowered as leaders of this change. And at a policy level, there needs to be minimum standards for infrastructure and a direct link between the skills taught in school and the needs of the local economy. And this leaves us with a final, powerful question to think about. This report shows that simply providing technology isn't the whole answer. The real transformation happened when the focus shifted to the people. So is the goal simply to have better devices in schools? Or is it to build more confident, more adaptable, and more resilient teachers who can thrive in any environment? This journey seems to suggest that's the question we really need to be asking.